Okay, so now that we know that there's a relationship between multiplication and division, we are going to create a fact family for this array. So 2 multiplication number sentences and 2 division number sentences. So let's start with the multiplication. How many rows have we got? Yes, we've got 2 rows and there are 10 counters in each row. So therefore I can write 2 multiplied by 10 because there are 2 rows and there are 10 counters in each, which gives us the answer 20. Now, because multiplication is commutative, we can also look at the columns. So how many columns have we got and how many in each column? Yes, we have got 10 columns and there are 2 counters in each column. So therefore, that also gives us the answer 20. And because we know that multiplication is commutative, we know that we can change the numbers around. Okay, let's try the division ones now. So let's start with grouping. So I've got 20 counters and I'd like to put them into groups of 10. How many counters are how many groups can I make with my counters? So 20 counters, putting them into groups of 10. How many groups? Well, look, can you see I've put my counters into groups of 10 and how many groups have I got? I've got 1, 2 groups. So I can write 20 divided by 10 equals 2. Now, can you see that that is using the same numbers as the multiplication number sentence next to it, but the numbers are just flipped around. So we've got 2 multiplied by 10 equals 20, and then flip the numbers around, and we've got 20 divided by 10 equals 2. Okay, let's do our next division number sentence by using sharing. So we've got 20 counters, and I'd like 2 groups. How many in each group? Well, can you see there are 2 groups on the array already drawn? And how many counters are in each group? Yes, that's right. There are 10 counters in each group. So we can write 20 divided by 2 equals 10. Again, we have just flipped the multiplication number sentence next to it around. We've gone from 10 multiplied by 2 equals 20 to 20 divided by 2 equals 10. And can you see in my fact family, I've only used the numbers 2, 10 and 20, no other numbers. Okay, so now it's your turn. Here is another array, and I'd like you to write the multiplication number sentences and the division number sentences for this fact family. Remember, for the multiplication, you need to look at the rows and the columns. And for the division, can you first do grouping and then do sharing? Okay, pause the video now and have a go. Okay, year 2, so let's start with the multiplication. Well, how many rows are there? There are 4 rows. And how many counters in each row? Yes, there are 10 counters in each row. So we can write 4 multiplied by 10 equals 40. Now let's look at the columns. So how many columns have we got? We've got 10 columns. And how many counters in each column? Yes, we've got 4 counters in each column. So we can write 10 multiplied by 4 equals 40. Now, we have got our 2 multiplication number sentences. And because of commutative law, can you see that we've just changed the parts around from 4 multiplied by 10 to 10 multiplied by 4, and it's given us the same answer. Now let's have a go at our division. So we have got 40 counters, and I'd like to put them into groups of 10, like I've done on the array. Can you see? I've circled groups of 10. And how many groups have I ended up with? Yes, that's right. There are 4 groups of 10. So I can write 40, because I had 40 counters, divided by 10, because I put them into groups of 10, equals 4, because there are 4 groups. Okay, what about the other one? Let's do sharing this time. So I've got 40 counters, and I want to put them in groups of 4. How many are going to be in each group? Well, yes, there are 4 groups, as you can see on the array. And how many counters are in each group? Yes, there are 10 counters in each group, so we can write 40 divided by 4 equals 10. Well done if you got that right. And again, can you see 4 multiplied by 10 equals 40? You just need to flip the number sentence around to get 40 divided by 10 equals 4. It's like a mirror image. And then we've got 10 multiplied by 4 equals 40. And then we've flipped the multiplication number sentence around to create a division. And we've got 40 divided by 4 equals 10. Fantastic. Well done if you got that right. So now it's your turn. There is a worksheet called Year 2 Maths, 29th of January, Resource 1. If you could complete all the questions on that worksheet and then come back to the video, please, because we've got some problem solving to do. Okay, Year 2. So let's move on to our problem solving. We have Max here, and Max says that he's going to share his 30 sweets between 10 people. He says, I think everybody will get 3 sweets. So yes, he has 30 sweets and he has 10 people. So he's going to share them out one at a time to these 10 people until he has no sweets left. Okay, and he needs to work out how many sweets each person will have. So here we go. I started it off for you. I've got my 10 people and I've given them all 1 sweet so far. So there are 20 sweets left to share out. So could you pause the video and share out the remaining 20 sweets and then find out when you've shared all those 20 sweets out, how many sweets each person has. Pause the video and have a go. Okay, Year 2, so let's have a look. Well, I continued to share the 30 sweets out as well. And now I have no sweets left. So there are 30 sweets all shared out between these 10 people. And how many sweets does each person have? Well, they all have 3 sweets. Can you see that? Each person, each circle which represents a person has 3 sweets in. So therefore, Max was right because 30 sweets divided by 10 people equals 3 sweets each. So 30 divided by 10 equals 3. Fantastic, well done if you got that right. Let's move on to our next question. So here we have a list of ingredients. Now, the recipe tells us how much of each ingredient we need for 10 brownies, but this person only wants to make 1 brownie. So we need to divide all of the ingredients by 10. So let's do the first one together. We've got butter, and for 10 brownies, you need 120 grams of butter. So I'm going to divide that by 10 to find out how much I need for 1 brownie. So what's 120 divided by 10? Well, we can flip that round and find out how many 10s we count until we get to 120. Are you ready? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. Stop! How many steps of 10 did we count? Yes, we counted 12 steps of 10. So 120 divided by 10 equals 12. Okay, what about the chocolate? We have 200 grams for 10 brownies, and we need to divide that by 10 to work out how many we need for 1 brownie. Now, can you do this without having to count up into 10 in tens? 200 divided by 10. Remember, we're dividing it by 10, so we're taking away a 10. We're going to get 200 divided by 10 equals 20. There we go. Now, I would like you to have a go at the next 3 on your own and then come back to the video and we'll check our answers. Okay, Year 2, so the cocoa, 40 grams for 10 brownies. What about for 1 brownie? Well, we need to divide 40 by 10, and 40 divided by 10 equals 4. We can check that by doing 4 multiplied by 10, which, yes, we know is 40. We can look at it the other way around to check our answer. Then we have 90 grams of flour for 10 brownies. How many grams of flour do we need for 1 brownie? Well, we need to do 90 divided by 10, which is 9. Okay, and lastly, we have 180 grams. We need to divide it by 10 to find out how many for 1 brownie. And what's 180 divided by 10? Well, yes, it's 18. Fantastic. Well done. If you got that right, that's excellent. Now, you have some similar questions on your worksheet, Year 2 Maths, 29th of January, Resource 2. And remember, you can choose the blue questions, which are slightly easier, or the orange questions, which are slightly more challenging. Then when you're finished, there's also an extension worksheet, which is Resource 3, if you'd like to have a go at that. Well, thank you very much for being so brilliant today, Year 2. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all in our next maths lesson. Bye, Year 2.